Hello and welcome to another Founders tutorial here at SyncSpider. We have a very interesting use case for you today. So there is a customer that has a local CSV file with information that should be created as a deal in fresh sales. The problem that we have is that in this CSV file coming from a local software, we do not have the fresh sales ID, which is needed for a contact to be created and assigned to a deal. So we can create the deal, yeah. We can also create a contact to the deal. This is also no problem having an email address, but we don't have an email address. We just have an internal customer number that is stored already in Fresh Sales. We know that it is stored, yeah. But Fresh Sales API does not allow you to assign a contact to a deal with a free field, with an external field, with a custom field. So you need to have either the fresh sales ID or the email address. And both of these informations is not here in that file, but we have that information, of course, because it's already imported into fresh sales on the contacts level in a custom field. And therefore we have the information. What we now need to do is to aggregate the data, combine it together, yeah, so that we can create the deal in fresh sales, or assign, not to create the deal, but assign the customer to the deal already when we create it. So what we need to do here, or what we need to have here, is we need to create 3 tasks. Task number 1 is to send the CSV file from the customer to the Google Sheet that we call here Datahub. So we create a Google Sheet that is called Datahub, and we will send the file to that sheet. On the other hand, we will create a task where we get the contacts from Fresh Sales, send it to the same Google Sheet, and use our feature to just update the existing fields, where we can also set the unique identifier, which is in both cases the customer ID. So we will update the fields that are missing. And once that's done, we will send the data to Fresh Sales in task number 3. So let's get the party started. Step 1, create a new task. The first thing that I will do when I start the creation is to rename the task. In step 1, send local CSV to Datahub. Okay. I will use a CSV integration. In this case, I created that integration already, just a regular CSV integration. You can make an SFTP server. You can even use the CSV source and save it on a Google Drive or an FTP or wherever you get it from. For this test case, I just used the feature to send it local, so I need to upload it to SyncSpider every time I need to send the file, but this is just a test case. Next step is to choose the target. In this case, I'm gonna use the Google Datahub. This is a Google Sheet integration that I already connected before, so Google is already connected, and I will use that same integration here. We're gonna send this to spreadsheets. So let's go to the next step. Now we're gonna upload the file. So we have here the right file. Let me just check. It is this here. Let me check. Yeah, it is this file here. Okay, so let's upload it. Okay, parsed correctly, looks good. Oh, we see here that there is an umlaut and it's not converted. I think it is not automatically detected, so I assume it's the ANSI format, which is Windows 12.52. And yeah, it is. So here we are converting now correctly. We have an umlaut here. Perfect. Okay, let's accept this change. And here we go. Let's go to the next step. So this was just reading out the source. There are no filters needed, so I go next step. And now let us pick a Google Sheet. So opening the Google integration, go on the related folder, go on the related folder and find the right one. This is this one. Just wait to read it out. And we have connected it. Now, what we need to do is to create the columns that we need. So actually, we need all the columns that are also in the CSV file, plus additionally the Freshworks contact ID. So what I'm going to do now is I will add them manually. So I will now manually add the columns. I will just add a few ones and then copy paste it over from the CSV file that I have to we have it there. And I will start with the Freshworks contact ID. This is the one that we need. And then I have all the columns that we also have in the CSV file. I could also import that file here. But it's okay. It are just a few more. Copy it over. As we want to describe, of course, in the Google Sheet. Neat. So let's check. So this one, and move that field. Okay, nice. Perfect. So also what I would recommend in general, I know that all the numbers that we have in the source are converted correctly. So I will use here to have a number field, and it's comma with no thousand separator. So I will change this here so that we always have the right number format, and later on transfer the right number format as well. I know that how they want to have it or need it, and this is why I'm changing this. And I also want to have for later on the Freshworks deal ID. Okay, perfect. Now I also have the date field here, and I also will convert to the right date what the customer needs. YY and then HHMMSS. So this is the right date format. Perfect. So we have everything we need for that Google Sheet, which is great. And yeah, then we need to do the mapping. Okay, as the files, the names of the headers are the same. Okay, we see here that there are two empty fields. Let's go back to the configuration and see. Maybe we have been too fast. Just to remove them. Okay, here are two empty ones. Let's remove it, or let's check if there is something missing. Yeah, it is. And it's here. So we missed those two. Let's check again the schema. Okay, this one looks good now. And now we can do the auto mapping. So I just press the automating button here. And here the ThinkSpider asks me if I can already map the numbers correctly, which I can, because we want to have for 1000 the separator empty and for decimal separator comma. Let's do this. The same goes here. I need to do this for every field. It's telling me which ones I need to map. So we are sure that we always send the right format. So it's really for every field, and for the date, it's also asking me which format do I want to have, and it's DD, MM, YYY, HH, MM, SS. Okay, and here we go. We will write the mapping, and boom, everything is mapped. One is missing, which is the Verkäufer. Let's see if we have Verkäufer. Oh, I forgot Verkäufer, so I go back again. And this is a good case that you also see it, that this easily is also possible to add something when you forgot something. Okay, I forgot the Verkäufer, and I just gonna add this new field here. Okay, and I move it up above EAN, and it's there. Okay, next step, and we will map this menu. Okay, we had it. Seems like that. Where do we have it? Here we have it 2 times. Sorry. This one is what we don't need. Okay. Now it should be good. Don't have it in the source. We don't have it in the source. Maybe this one was just added by accident in the file that I got. So I will remove it entirely. We don't need it. It seems like that. Okay, so let's remove that. Perfect. And proceed. So what we're going to do is we overwrite each time the file. Yeah, we will overwrite it each time. So just go back a last time here, because this is the initial task. Step 1, send the local CSV. And we had here the settings, and we will overwrite the file each time. So we will not append the data, we will not update the data. Every time this file comes, we will overwrite all the entities in the target. So all the entities in the Google Sheet will be updated. Okay, nice. So mapping done. And we want to enable that, and we do not yet have a trigger for that because it's uploaded manually, but we want to just see how this goes. So first step is completed, and I will already run this step now before I set up the next step. Let's start it. We can use that test file to send, and all we need to do is wait a bit. So this took a few seconds, and we already processed that. It is good. So, and now we can take a look here on the Google Sheet where we updated all the fields, number correctly mapped, date correctly. So everything fine. So what we need now is this contact ID. So let's go to step number 2, which is sending fresh sales contact data to the Datahub. Okay, here we go. Back to the project and create a new task. And here we will pick the source integration, which is the CRM, and we're gonna pick contact as the source. Go to the next step. Here we pick again the Google Data Hub. Wait until loaded and proceed to the next step. Here we're going to choose the unique identifier field, which is contact ID. And we do not make an incremental import because incremental will not help us here, as we need all the data compared. We do not know which customer comes from the source. So next step. We do not need a filter, and we go to the step to set up Google Sheet. here in the Google Sheet, you see that we have already the headline. So we need all those fields again here in the task. So what we're going to do now, we will select the same Google Sheet, but we do not read out the headers yet. And so we need to set it again. So let's do it like this. Go in here and pick the data hub. So we do not need, we do not have the fields now, and we need to create it again. And what I do is just adding again, as I did before, the columns and copying over the cells. And meanwhile, I will pause so you don't need to look at that again. Adding all the fields that we need. And the last one. Okay. And now we don't need those fields. We need update or create using a new ID. So what we're gonna do here is we're gonna just set it to only update. So we will only update the cells that we map, and we will compare the cells by using the Kundennummer, this field here. Okay, this is our UID. This is what we're gonna compare. Now we go again to the mapping screen, and all we need to do now is we need to map. Okay, we have here again 2 free fields. Going back to check that, and we have that now, and go back to the mapping. All we're gonna do is to map the contact ID, which is ID, and we just need it without decimals, without thousand separator. And we need the Kundennummer, which is the external ID. This is what we know. We're gonna map it. Perfect. And as said, we are comparing the field. This field here is the UID. We are comparing it with the field that we mapped, and we are updating all the fields that we mapped based on that. And namely, only update. We will not create new UIDs. Okay, so last step is that we can already trigger that task that we call step 2 get fresh sales contact ID to import file or to Datahub, sorry, to Datahub, and we can trigger that on event task executed when the task step 1, fill up Datahub with Freshworks. Can't hear this one. Step 1, send local CSV to Datahub. When this is completed, we're gonna start that task automatically. So we don't need to start it manually. We start just step 1, and step 2 will trigger after that. Okay, we can enable this, and I also want to have a task logging to see what we get for now to get this verified. Now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna now start step 2 to see if it works. So you remember we want to fill out this field here. We have 30,000 contacts in fresh sales, so I'm gonna start this task and set it on pause while it's running. It will take just a few minutes because the Freshworks API is pretty fast. You see here already how fast this goes for the contact, so it's really very, very cool. And as this task will only run once a day, it's not a big deal. So something like this is really useful once you think about combining product information, combining customer information, and sending it together into another system, or when you need like this specific identifier and you just have it in one system. Then this is the perfect use case to set up something in a data hub. So perfectly completed, everything fine, and we have the data in the Google Sheets, and that's it. The last step actually is that we need to set up the third task where we send the data that we have here to the fresh sales CRM, and then we have the contact data already and can assign the task, and this is a process that is separately done. And yeah, I hope you liked the tutorial and how to set it up. And we will see on the next tutorial. Thank you.